anyway, they put real candles on there, real candles about this long, about big around my little finger. They had little regular candle holders and they put in there and clamped them to the tree. And I don't know why the tree didn't catch fire, because we had, flame on it, lit it. We had to watch it real close. Every once in a while, decoration would catch fire, we knock it out.
How many candles would you put on?
Oh, quite a few. Just put them on all branches, all over, probably 30, 40.
Did you have the tree in water, sitting in water?
No, we didn't know about that. That was before we worried about that. We only put it up a day or two before Christmas, took it down.
Would you just light the candles on Christmas night? Oh, would you light them?
But let me tell you about at school. We always had a Christmas program at school. This Friday night before Christmas. We had a great big tree that went almost to the ceiling there.
Was this a one-room schoolhouse?
Yeah, how big?
And one-room schoolhouse.
How many kids?
It was usually about 25 or 30 kids, and they was all the way from first grade through the 8th grade.
So what did you do? Did you have a leading part? Were you an angel or a devil?
No, I was usually in the play where we got up and sang,
She was
First
more
we
than
sang
enough.
Jingle Bells, and then we finally sang Joy to the World or something. And we had dressed up and had a little play, and all the parents came. Then they gave out bags. That's when we got our bags of food and candy.
Did you have candles on that tree real well?
Yes. And people, the parents watched for the tree to catch fire there and took care of it.
Was it snowy?
And lots of snow. And then that was about all we did. All the parents came that night. That was the biggest night.
So did you get out of school for about a week or something?
Yeah. One year during Christmas vacation, I spent in bed with the mums over Christmas.
Did you get a present?
I don't remember. I don't know whether I did or not. I got, when I was real little, I got a doll. A little tiny, a short doll with a cloth body and filled with sawdust and a little bitty head. It was made out of tin.
Huh.
It was all painted. And the next year, I got a new dress for that same doll.
Oh.
The next year, I got another new dress for that same doll. I got the same doll back after several years.
I wish I could see that doll.
And we didn't get very many gifts, but we got a few.
So did y'all make each other gifts, like your sisters?
Yeah, one year Frances and I we embroidered each other an apron with a big design on the front. And the one I made was a big girl with a big skirt, and she did me one with big flowers on it. We was doing them both at the same time, was hiding from the other one, the whole time. So I gave her her apron, and she gave me my apron for Christmas.
And your mother instigated it,
Huh?
Your mother helped you?
Yeah, she had bought them, ordered them or something, and got us some bread and everything.
Mommy, did your mother do needlework?
She didn't do too well. Yeah, she knit. She knitted us long stockings to wear to school,
Huh.
and she knitted our mittens and scarves and caps. And we wore long stockings all the way up above our knees, over our long handles to school.
Did you walk to school 5 miles in the
1
snow?
mile.
5 miles.
But one year I got a prize for not missing a day all year. We walked to school every day in the snow and walked home. Unless it was real cold, and then somebody come guide us with the sled.
Where did y'all live now? When you were born in
Minnesota.
Clearbrook?
Yeah. Out in the country, 6 miles.
Hard for choose.
Or do you like
So what kind of lunches did you take to school, Mommy? Lard sandwiches?
No.
I think I'm getting mixed
We took our
up.
lunch in a syrup bucket, a little half-gallon syrup bucket. And we took sandwiches made with butter and sugar sprinkled on the butter. That was our sandwiches.
That's what I have to do.
And you,
We usually had homemade cookies. That was homemade bread.
Wasn't biscuits?
No, we didn't have biscuits up there. We had homemade bread. That was better.
And then, so you ate that in your little schoolroom, and you drank water from the well?
Yes.
From the bucket.
Did your schoolroom have a big fireplace in it, a big stove or something?
It had a huge stove and one took up one whole big corner. It was that big around 8 or 10 foot high, burned wood.
So the teacher had to keep that wood in
Yeah,
there.
she had to go early and build a fire in the morning before the kids got there.
So did,
So I tried to warm up that room, but it was so cold in there that, and we used real ink in the ink bottles with the pens, and our ink would freeze overnight. Break the bottles, pop the cork out.
so how did they teach that many kids in different grades all in one room?
Well, there was usually just from 2 to 5 kids in each class, and they'd have each class come forward and sit on the front seats, and they'd do their reciting while the rest of them studied.
The other ones wasn't supposed to listen, huh?
They were studying.
So then, when you got to recess, if it was real snowy, could you still go outside?
Oh, man. We went out there and the boys would build forts out of snow, and then they'd get behind it. One team would get behind the pile of snow up this high, and the rest of them get over there and they have snowball fights.
So did the girls get to be involved with that?
No, the girls played by themselves. They'd play something else. And there was a hand pump out there that they went out and got a bucket of water. And the boys would go out and get a water bucket at a time and bring in and pour in the big old earthen thing with a spigot at the bottom for us to drink.
How many were in your graduating class?
Probably about 6. Out of the 8th grade, you mean? Yeah, that was 8th grade.
So then what happened when you got in high school?
Well, I didn't go to high school up there. That fall that I was supposed to start high school, see, we didn't have any high school. We had to go to town and rent a room and go to school there because there wasn't any school buses. The only way we could go to high school is go and move to a rented room in town and live in town all week and go home on the weekend.
So who
Go to
did
high
that?
school.
You and your sister?
Angela did that. She started high school when she was way out, but graduated when she's 16. And Francis never did go to high school.
So did you?
Well, then the fall that I was supposed to start high school is when we moved from Minnesota to Ohio. So I went to high school
Quit it. So did you?
in January after Christmas vacation.
So who'd you live with?
Just city high school, big one.
Well, we moved to Greenville, and there was a bus then. And I was 13 or something. And then I went to high school, graduated when I was 18.
Did y'all have animals like cows and horses and? Wait, you're
Yeah,
in Minnesota?
Yeah. I had to go out and milk the cows in the mornings before I went to school.
You had sheep too, didn't you?
Before I walked to school.
You had sheep too. Remember those
20
pictures?
miles in the snow.
We had sheep,
Barefoot.
hogs, chickens, cows, and horses.
Did y'all take that wool and
Yeah.
do it?
My mother used to take the wool and wash it and then card it with the cards like this and get it real smooth, you know, and then put it in quilts. Instead of the batting like we use in quilts, she used the wool and just put it in there.
Did she actually quilt? You know,
She never did quilt them. She always just tied
tied
them.
them.
Like that top part.
How did y'all keep warm in them winter? Just with a bunch of them quilts, huh?
They were so heavy you couldn't hardly turn over 'em. We slept upstairs, and in the morning there'd be snow that'd come through the cracks of the windows, laying on the inside of the windows. And you could see your breath, boy. See your breath real big when you get up out of bed.
Did you sleep with a warm brick at your feet?
Oh, we didn't have any bricks. We didn't have anything that nice.
You know, to keep your feet warm?
We took, you know what we did? We took a Sears and Roebuck catalog, an old one, and we put it in the oven the day before. We'd opened it up and put it in the oven, and every little while we'd come and turn over about 20 pages.
Good night.
And then by bedtime, it was kind of warm, and we'd take it to bed with us, put our feet with it, pages.
My, I never heard of that.
Or we'd take an old iron. See, we didn't have electric irons. We had irons that went on the wood stove, old heavy irons, and it warm up one of them, take to bed, wrap it up in a towel, and put it up feet. But if we was real lucky, we could take a hot water bottle to bed with us, but it didn't stay hot all night. Well, none of the rest of them did either. That's the things that we used to keep
Who
warm.
all slept up there? Just you and Angela, or what about Joe and David?
Me and Angela and Francis. David was a baby when we moved to Ohio. Joe was little. Ruth was 5 years younger than me. We just had 2 rooms upstairs, and the girl, Angela, was gone before Joe was born. She's already grown up. We had 2 rooms upstairs. The girls stayed in one room, the boys in the other.
So, did y'all go to church in Minnesota on Sundays?
We didn't have a regular church to go to. We had the cottage prayer meetings sometimes.
Y'all just went to each other's houses? So what about when you moved? Did y'all move to a town in
We
Ohio?
moved out in the country about 2 or 3 miles from town.
And you were how old in 8th grade? Fix me a nut?
I was 14 when we moved to Ohio.
Is that where those pictures were taken of y'all and the sheep? Or was that
Yes.
at Minnesota? When you were little
Yes,
with your
sir.
short hair?
That was in Minnesota.
Under that phone.
My ear come out from under my scarf, and I didn't know it, and it froze. And after that, a few days after, it started peeling and peeled and peeled and peeled. It looked terrible for a long time.
You mean it got frostbite? But you didn't feel it?
I guess I did when it was too late. I finally did. But we went to that church and we practiced. And I was 9 years old, and I was in this little thing where the kids all had to stand up and hold a big letter up, Christmas joy. Everybody held up. I think mine was O. O is for something, Christmas joy. And then we practiced that day, and then we gave our program that night at church. And then we had to ride in the horse and sleigh.
Did you
5
have,
more miles to go home after dark.
Is it a one horse open sleigh?
Yeah,
with jingle bells on it?
and wrap up in quilts, warm.
Neat.
I thought we were going to
I don't think there was any bells. That's just
Extravagant.
fun. Jingle bells for fun when you're serious. Well, you don't need bells.
Did y'all want to move to Ohio? Did you like that move?
Yeah, anything to get away from that cold weather.
How far was that, though? It was down pretty far from Minnesota, huh?
Took 36 hours to drive.
Have-
Then,
And sleigh?
no 4 lanes.
But you had a car. Y'all had
We
a car?
How fast did it go?
5 miles. I doubt if we went over 50, maybe 45 feet. My dad drove all the way, 36 hours.
Mm.
Without stopping? There's no motel.
Hardly any restaurant.
Did y'all know somebody where you were moving, or did you just move?
Well, Angela and Francis were already down there, living there. Angela had gone on a few years before, and she was living, they had an apartment, and they was living in Winchester.
This is candid camera.
I wish you'd turn them things off.
Did y'all move in with them?
We stayed with them for a few days, but my folks had already been there the summer before that and bought this house in the country. Really, it was a farm, and but they had to go buy some furniture because we'd sold all our furniture. So it was a few days before we got moved in Greenville.
So you lived there till you moved in with the McFarlands?
Well, I lived there all the time I went to high school.
Then when did you move in with?
Well, after I graduated from high school, I went to and stayed with Angela Charles for about a year or a few months. That's when I worked at the glass factory. And then I went to Richmond and rented a room. I finally rented a room from Bob Margie in Florida.
Is that when you worked in the Ritz Cracker Factory?
Ritz?
Didn't you work in the Ritz Cracker
It wasn't
Factory?
Ritz.
What was
It
the?
was baking company that had
Premium.
packed crackers. Wow, Richmond Baking Company.
Premium saltine.
And they went down a thing and you had to
conveyor.
put them in little papers or something.
We put them in the boxes. They didn't put soda crackers in tubes in. They put them, there was 4 of them together, and then stacked them.
I remember
We
that.
put them in the boxes.
And they had little dots on them where you could break them
Yeah,
off.
and then they was wrapped with wax paper. Well, we was paid by the box, piecework, and we got 1 8/10 cents a dozen to pack them things.
A dozen crackers or a dozen
A
boxes?
dozen boxes,
Man.
or 40 cents a dozen, 40 cents an hour, whichever was the most.
About what year was
If
this?
we could pack faster than 40 cents an hour, well,
You'd
we'd
get it.
more.
How do they time you? I mean, how'd they know?
Well, they kept books. They had a girl there keeping track.
Did you make more than 40 cents an hour?
I doubt it. It took me so long to learn how to do that. And I couldn't learn how to close them boxes, and I got hangnailed all over my fingers for the first 2 or 3 days, and I finally learned how to do it.
So you only did one duty at the end of the line somewhere or in the middle of the line or?
In the middle, there was a conveyor, and each girl had a certain section. There was trays on the conveyor, and there was 3 sections of crackers on each tray. The trays come down from upstairs and come out like this. And that girl would take the first section, and then maybe I'd take the second section, and this girl would take the third section.
So what would you do when you got to them?
Well, we grab them like this and sling them into that box, kind of like this.
Were they already in a package?
And then the package was all ready for them. And we put them in the package and then close up the wax paper and close the box and stack the box up. And when we got a bunch of boxes, we have to put over on them.
Were they like boxes like cracker boxes are now? You only got a penny per dozen of them? Mercy.
1 8/10 cents.
Did you ever come out with like 5 pennies and like
And 2 eighths or something?
2 8?
Did they let you have samples?
Well, I was going to tell you, at the same place they made cookies, them real good marshmallow cookies. And we could have all the marshmallow cookies we wanted at lunch. They had big old cookie jars full of them in the dining area there. And everybody that smoked, they furnished free cigarettes.
That
My.
That was before it was, that was before it was bad on your health to smoke. They didn't want it.
What did your dad do for a living in Ohio?
He worked at the elevator. What's them things?
Grain elevator?
No, that hatch the eggs.
Incubator.
Incubator. Where they had big commercial incubators they made out of wood. He made them at an incubator factory.
He was a carpenter.
Cabinet builder kind of. He built them along.
So he didn't farm anymore.
Did he build y'all's house?
No.
And your mom didn't have to work?
Women didn't work back then much.
So who was at home? You were living off and
That was before the war.
the boys were at home?
Yeah, Ruth and the boys. I was the oldest one at home.
Sarah and Vaughn.
But then I graduated. But when I was a sophomore, in December when I was a sophomore, a junior, World War II started. And
Grandpa
all
was
those
in it.
guys had to go to the army. And so after I got out of high school, then I got a job in the Wayne Works factory there, building school buses.
What did you do on that job?
I think y'all got enough.
Coverage? Wait a minute, now I never have heard about you working in a school bus
We gotta
factory.
wait, Robin. Ask that question again.
Can you hold on to that answer just for a moment? We have to take a Spot commercial. Thank you, Spot.
Well, this is interesting. If we, sometime, next 20, 40 years, we might want to go back to this.
We may want to write a book. B-O-O-K, boog. What'd you do on the school bus thing?
Well, I only worked in the stock room. A very exciting job.
You stocked the...
In the stock room where they we had nuts and bolts, mostly nuts.
Heavy on the nut.
Jerks.
And we had to requisition all of the different size screws and nuts and nails and windshield
We got a mechanic. in here.
visors and windshield wipers, motors, and lights, all them blinking lights on the back of the bus, and just stuff like that.
So y'all had a lot of different jobs because the guys were all gone to the service.
Yeah.
So the women had to kind of take some of the guys' jobs.
Yeah, that's when the women started getting outside jobs a whole lot during the war.
Well, tell us about when you met Poppy.
Well, I had-
Wait a minute,
What'd your parents think of him?
now wait a minute. That's that question again.
Well, how did you meet Pop?
Well, I was going to church in Richmond. I was living in an apartment at Bob and Margie's house. Me and Martha and
How did
Betty.
you meet them? Oh, because they were kin.
Martha and Betty lived with y'all?
Well, Martha and Betty had a two-room apartment upstairs, and I had a room downstairs. But I cooked with them. I went up and we cooked our meals together, but my bedroom was downstairs. But anyway, we rode with them to church. Bob was the pastor in a little home missionary church. And I played the piano and helped him taught Sunday school. So one Sunday he come to Sunday school, and of course they invited him home with them for dinner.
Now, what did Martha and Betty think about Pop? Well, now, didn't y'all discuss it very
Well,
thoroughly? All three of y'all
there were
single
so
young
many
women with the...
soldiers coming by all the time, we wasn't very excited.
Y'all had your pick, huh?
And, so after I met him across the table while we was eating dinner, and then he.
Did he say, Islet, while you're up,
Or bring me some of that onion.
German chocolate
Bring
cake?
me some of that
After
onion.
lunch, while me and the girls went off somewhere for a little while, an hour or two, and when we got back, he was laying on the couch, got his shoes
Eating
off,
popcorn?
laying on the couch with his feet propped up sleeping, taking that nap.
So did he stay for church that
We
night?
stayed for church that night, and then I think we took him out to town and dumped him off, and he hitchhiked back to the camp.
In the wintertime?
No, this was in the summertime.
So he kept coming after that every Sunday?
Well, he came 1 or 2 more weekends, and then he came home for furlough, and then he came back, and.
He came back home here to Baytown?
Yeah. And then when he came back up there, the war was over about then. And we started dating about October, I guess.
Well, didn't some of those other girls like him?
Well, yeah, but
You
Which
just
ones
was the
were
lucky
they?
one.
Betty? Which girl?
Betty was going with Ray about that time.
She was.
But he was in service too. He was gone to Fort Lewis, Washington.
Is that the one that married him? Betty and Ray?
Yeah.
She's the one that lived with you in that house? Oh.
And Martha, I don't know if she did. I think she did.
Did you still call them bows?
Mommy said it
However
was...
you say it. B-A something X.
No, not married Mummy Poppy. Betty married Ray.
B-A-U-X. You s-
Bows. No, they didn't. That was before my day. They called them bows.
So
So you call him your date or your boyfriend?
Well, there were some girls that liked him. I remember that part.
that was Lou Eubanks.
That wasn't up there. It was down here. Some of his ex-girlfriends down here.
I thought it was up there.
Eudora, Eudora.
Did you do it like him?
What was it? Who was she?
Grace or
Was
I'm
it
hard.
Glory or one of them.
Glory. Grace and Glory.
There was a
Faith
girl named Bernice that he liked. I never did.
No.
But they all used to ride him because he was in the service, and all the girls would write the guys.
Yeah, Bernice wrote to him.
How about that lady that used to work for the city in the credit union?
Dina?
Dina.
I don't know. I wasn't here. I don't know.
So y'all got married and moved here out on Cedar Bayou Road, right? That was your first house?
Tell about the trip down.
Well, we got married 1st of January, and then he was still in the Army.
And who married you?
Uncle Mac. Bob was best man. Mark was maid.
Mac and Ethel's.
Karen was 5 years old. She was a flower girl.
Oh,
I remember those pictures.
And so I was still working at the Wayne Works, the school bus place. And he was still in the Army, so he went back to Dayton. And he called me about 3 weeks later, and he said, guess what, I'm getting my, what do you call it? I'm getting out of the Army.
I'm getting leave.
So he got out 21st of January, 3 weeks after we got married.
Oh, he wasn't out when y'all got married. Was you thinking he's going to be in there a while?
No, we didn't think he'd get out that soon.
Was you kind of worried about moving down here?
I want to know that buffer dog.
Didn't bother you, huh?
I was
Ready for a
didn't
change?
worry about nothing.
So you were 21?
Fancy breed.
You were 22 or 21 or what?
I was 22 at first.
And Poppy was how old? 25? That's pretty old.
So when he got out, we didn't have enough money to make the trip. So he just moved in with me there where I was staying with. In the meantime, Bob Marty had moved to another house, and I moved with him, and I had upstairs. And Martha and Betty didn't.
Is this
move
right
in.
design or was it standard or
They
was it
stayed
filed
with
or?
that other house. Some of the church people moved in. So then he got a job as a butcher and worked there about a month, and I
Somebody shot at
kept
you.
working until we had enough money to make the trip.
Did anybody give you a shower or you did? Nothing?
Never did that. Well, I had a little shower after I got down here, but that was right during, after the war, and there wasn't nothing to give. I got a few little things, just a few things.
So you didn't have that much to start.
I had that little pan that Glory gave me. Glory Gidros gave me, that little pot.
That one you have at Fort O'Connor?
And when we came down in Georgia, in the cotton country, well, some of the people gave us some sheets. You couldn't buy sheets. These sheets were cupcakes.
Because of the shortages and
Those
everything?
people had a few laid back, and some of them gave us one or two. So we left up there and drove to Tennessee, spent the night, then drove to Georgia. It took us 10 days. We stopped at different places. Places that he had been in service, people he'd met, went to Florida, Pensacola, met to get roses.
So, how did you know where you were going to, well, you stayed with his mother when y'all got here? Or?
Yeah, we
Fred
had to stay
and-
with her about 2 months until you couldn't find a place to rent. There wasn't no houses available, because we didn't have any money either.
So she had never met you. So what did she think about you?
Well, I don't know if she ain't here, or if she was here, but she could tell you.
Well, what did you think about her?
I didn't know what to think about her. It took me a long time to get used to her.
Was she kind of hard to get along with?
No, she just different, just Southern, and I wasn't Southern.
Was she real friendly, like Poppy?
Well,
Talk to
yeah,
anybody?
yeah, she was real good to me, but see, I think their family thought they wanted him to marry that Bernice. That they all knew her, and they didn't know me.
I thought you were just one of them old Yankees, huh?
She's skinny. Real, Poppy's mother, real skinny.
You talking about Bernie?
Well, she was real short. She wasn't real skinny, but she was real little bone.
But she was a go-getter, wasn't she?
Yeah. She used to really take up for me, though. She busted him if she thought he wasn't doing me right. One time we went to the grocery store shopping, and I was so hungry for bananas. We never got any bananas all during the war up there, and I wanted some bananas so bad. I asked him to buy me some bananas. He said, "Oh, you don't need no bananas," or something like that. She said, now Chuck, you get her some bananas. If that's what she wants, you get them for her. Just things like that she'd really pick up for me.
Called him Chuck. His mama called him Poppy Chuck.
Chuck.
And when did she give you her sewing sheet?
Well,
When she started having 9 kids.
before, I don't know, whenever, probably after Linda was born and I needed to sew, I imagine, I don't know, I don't remember.
You remember her making quilts?
She didn't do that then. See, she was 69 when she died, and it was just when Danny was born. The year Danny was born, so she was pretty old.
Did she live by herself after y'all moved out?
Yeah.
Mommy, Danny was not born in 69.
She was 60
Oh, she was 69.
Hey, Grandpa, sit over here.
when she died. The
So
year
here.
Danny was born.
Oh, the year he was. So that was pretty right away, wasn't it?
Back then, she was an old woman. Of course, I'm gonna be 69 one of these days pretty soon, and I ain't old.
So y'all had to.
Got a message for Phil. Where's he at?
Must
Can
be in there
we,
getting Sunny to sleep.
Turn this off pretty soon.
Well, I got another question.
One more and then it will be to be continued.
It'll be Poppy's turn next.
I don't have anything that glamorous.
Well, yeah, but okay, after y'all moved in with her, then how did y'all get enough money to build a house?
Borrowed it.
Where was Poppy working? Was he working at Exxon?
Well, they had to hire him back because he was working there before the war.
So
he
then y'all
borrowed-
built on Cedar Bow Road?
Yeah, he borrowed, how much did you borrow from Newman?
$2,500.
$2,500 and built that little garage apartment over there
That first one next door to the second
on
one.
the corner.
Newman's.
And they had dug that huge ditch, remember, along Cedar Bow Road? And
Yeah, on
we
the
bought
front.
2 lots first. And that dirt was about 6 foot high along the old black dirt. So the cheapest way I could get it done was with a black man with a mule. Slip, they called it. It's kind of trough-like deal. The way they used to move dirt in the olden days. You plied it up first, loosed it. This slip's got 2 handles like a wheelbar on it. Just scoops the dirt up. He leveled all that lot up, I think, for $25. That
Are you talking about the ditch in the front or on the side?
it was just in the front.
Why did you have to dig that?
We didn't dig it. When we bought the lot, the county had dug that ditch out, and that was vacant property, and they just threw the dirt on it. Years before we come along.
Remember in the front of that old Cedar Bow house where that concrete flower thing was and there was marbles? Danny, I think Poppy said or something. When y'all made that concrete, it was a flower, it was it was kind of right in front of the ditch. There was a
Yeah.
concrete barrier and it had
Yeah.
marbles in it.
Yeah.
And then there was a wooden bridge, a wooden driveway, planks,
Yeah.
over the ditch.
Yeah, I remember
That old creosote lumber.
Yeah, I got it. I took the way I got that lumber. Took the boat and went down the ship channel at Hog Island and found them treated boards all up and down the ship channel and hauled them in a boat and then hauled them home.
Didn't there water? It was like a ditch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it got.
Didn't the kids get down in there?
Yeah, times. I got down there and every time we park on that bridge, it had cracks in it, Well, then they'd grab the car keys and throw them in that ditch through them cracks. So we spent a lot of time hunting car keys in that ditch. Snaky down there. But eventually, after we left over, they put tile in it, covered it up. But when we moved in that big house in 1950, October the 1st,
I ain't getting you.
it was a hurricane coming. And it rained, cats and dogs, and the water got right across the road, Cedar Bow Road there. It didn't get in the house, but it got right up, like in about that much getting it. It got in the garage.
Connie and Bonnie was 3.5 months old.
What hurricane was it?
I can't remember the name.
Did you use that garage as a car garage, or was it always closed in?
No, it was a car garage for years, in a workroom. One side, fives, the whole work.
Oh. Did you make that stairway? I remember that wooden stairway in there with the railings and all.
Inside?
In the new old house.
In the inside?
Yeah.
No. On the stairway was 2 apartments, one upstairs and one downstairs, and the stairway I built it in the rear. And then we sold it to Arliss Taylor, and he put the inside of it in. After we moved, years after we moved.
Well, what did y'all use?
Well, it was 2 apartments, one upstairs and one downstairs. We didn't have no.
You mean in the new old house?
Over on Cedar Bow Road.
I
We
know.
never lived upstairs.
You didn't?
Newman lived up there for
Oh.
long. There's a big body shop over here, Jimmy Hefferman's. Over for his auto parts. They
What?
were the first ones to live there. He told me recently.
Did they rented it from y'all?
$25 a month, I think.
Did they have their own kitchen and everything?
Yeah, it's a 1-bedroom apartment.
Well, I don't remember there being a kitchen up there.
Well, it had been taken out. Time
Oh,
you saw it. You never did live there, did you?
no.
I remember.
But I painted it plenty of times.
And how, when you put that different siding on,
And I killed
it
fleas.
never was the same color as what was originally on there because it was so new.
And well, how many dozens of times do you think we had to go paint that house and kill
I
fleas?
think it's 620, I think I counted.
Was it a red house?
Yeah.
Remember one lady had a poodle
Oh,
parlor in the garage and it was flea city.
Several times. And we would go painting, and Poppy would go down to Whataburger and buy a gallon jug of Dad's root beer. And we would have, was our refreshments, we would have root beer.
It wasn't Waterbury,
No,
it
it
was
was-
some old place like that.
Big stand.
Tasty Treat or something like that.
For
Something-
Waterbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, tasty
And
treat.
A&W root beer stand.
A&W.
Maybe it was A&W, but it was root beer and it was in one, the bottle had a little thing
Yeah,
on it. you know,
yeah.
where it carried it.
Triple A.
It's like syrup, that root beer syrup.
Well, I believe that's something we got in the grocery store.
Yeah,
Dad.
it would come cold.
But that grass at that rent house used to grow so thick in the backyard because I'd have to mow it.
With a hand mower.
And it was so thick, it growed much more thick than our grass at home. Because it was hard to mow. It was so
I
hard.
remember when y'all had grapevines though.
And a walnut tree.
Real good grape.
And a walnut tree.
Yeah.
Like walnut.
Them didn't do good when you were mowing at all.
Well, we had to
They were
come-
very dangerous for anybody that might be standing around.
Up there?
You might get hit by a flying walnut.
Well, Robbie, I think this show is gonna be over about at 8 o'clock. We got 2 more minutes.
Okay, what else would you like to add to this commentary, Pop? You don't remember any Christmases worthwhile? When you were
No,
growing
I
up?
can never remember. They just wasn't very important. Birthdays and Christmases, we didn't pay any attention. Smiths did. None. I can't ever remember a birthday till I got married.
We just
Even
started
having a
doing
birthday.
Are you sure you had some?
Well, I didn't have many as some people thought I did. But Christmas, I remember somebody, we lived in the oil field, so this is about 1932. And somebody gave me an overcoat. And that's the year I told you it snowed and and froze up everything for about 3 days. But somebody gave me that overcoat, and then somebody gave us some fireworks. And I was shooting a Roman candle, and one of them went down my sleeve on that overcoat. Bought me. I remember that. But I can't remember anything but just fruit for Christmas.
Didn't you go to church though? You went to Sunday school, didn't you?
Well, I didn't start the church till 1940, and I'm talking about 1932.
Was that when you rode your bike to the store for the ice?
Yeah, but I didn't get that bicycle till I was in high school, and that was about 1933, 4. But no, yeah, because I finished junior high in 36. It was probably about 1936.
So that was where Old Hathaways used to be, where the grocery store was back then? In Old
No,
Baytown?
it wasn't there. It was, no, you didn't ever remember. The store was tore down right after World War II.
Was the roads like Lee Drive and 146, was those same roads there just dirt roads? Or were they paved, or was it those same roads that are there now?
146, of course, before it was 146, it was just shell. Because you'd get shell out of the bay, good shell reefs with oysters. That was the cheapest way to get it. And so everybody used shell. And that's what it was until they designated it and built the causeway. And about, I don't know, 1942 or 4, they finished the causeway. And so then that was 140. And then it turned and went straight toward Cedar Bow. It put Pelly on the map a little bit.
But y'all had a lot of oil wells, I mean, active oil rigs going right there, didn't you?
Yeah, there was, and they were
Were they getting a lot of oil?
not a lot, but it was getting
Enough.
enough to make it profitable at $3 a barrel, about what it sold for then.
So a lot of the men worked in the oil fields?
Right, and the refinery. That was the 2 big jobs in Baytown.
Which was Esso? Is Esso? Humble?
There wasn't any Exxon until about 1970, something like that. But same thing. We went duck hunting in the winter. And we'd go down to McCullum Park, and it wasn't in McCullum Park, and wade to Red's Bow, which is about 2 miles down there, and duck hunt along there in blinds. I duck hunted with Newman. He was the duck hunter. Thurman hunted too.
Wasn't McCullum Park quite a ways from where y'all lived?
Yeah, we had to go down there in the car.
Why didn't y'all hunt just right there off Green, whatever it's called? Greens.
Evergreen.
Yeah, Evergreen, right by where you lived.
Yeah, but there wasn't any good duck hunting there. There was a few ducks where the tunnel is now on Black Duck Bay. To get there, they had walks between the oil wells and Tabbs Bay. So you could walk way out on one of those walks, and they had a little hand boat with a rope on it that you could pull yourself across Bush Creek to get across there, and we'd do that and go over and duck hunt. Walk another mile to Tabbs Bay, right where the tunnel is now. One day we was over hunting rabbits, and lots of prickly pear, just like you see now. We saw a rabbit run into this bunch of prickly pear, well, little hitting it and trying to scare him out of there, and we knocked the prickly pear off, and it hit right on my knee.
Ooh.
That white leaf with thorns in it. So I thought it was about killed. So anyway, there was a pumper there on the lease. He took me to the doctor. It's on Sunday. The only one we could find was the eye doctor. And he just took his tweezers or and pulled that thorn. The skin was, the thorn had went into my kneecap.
Ooh.
So he pulled it right out. And what we treated everything with is kerosene. And down that oil field, almost every pumper shed had a drum of kerosene. They used it in a lot of ways around there. And so if anything you got hurt, you just took and poured a little kerosene on it.
Is that the same thing as coal oil?
Yeah. In fact, the refinery, Humble, that was their main product when they opened, was coal oil.
Because everybody heated with it, huh?
For years, everybody kidded and called it the coal oil plant. I guess that was one